Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's the end of another month, so it's a book wrap up. And this month in February, I read 6 books and I really liked most of them. Some of them not so much, but we can get into it, so let's talk about the books. My first book I read this month is The London Seance Society, and I liked it, but I think I read it in the wrong time of year. I really do. So the book is set in the 1800s in London and in Paris. Lena has tragically lost her sister. She was murdered and she wants answers. So in order to get answers for that murder and to unravel some of her sister's secrets, because she does have a little bit of a secret secondary life, she decides to go to a seance spiritualist and decides that she wants to talk to the dead and see what happened to her sister, because it is not like her sister to just have as many secrets as she's now unraveling. And with that, on the other side of this book, there is a men's society, which is a seance society, and it's during that time women were not allowed into, I call it like a man club, but it's interesting. So they do seances as well, and she gets in ties with them, and it's just like this like adventure / page turner. There's a few murders in the book that we have to figure out. It jumps between Lena and Mr. Mortley. So with that, I liked the book. I think it gave me too much fall vibes. Again, more on me, the reader, than the book. And I think I would have really liked it more in the fall time. Again, that's all that I can say that's really negative about it, is maybe I should have read it in the fall and I would have kind of dug into it more and finished it quickly. Okay, so my second book, I cannot get into this quick enough, is going to be Stud in the Stacks by Pippa Grant. And let me tell you, it was a page turner. It was steamy. It was everything I needed it to be. And I'm just looking at my notes because I wanted to make sure I got her name right. Her name is Parker Elliott, and then you have Knox. And Knox is a librarian, and his book of choice or genre of choice is he loves recommending romance books. And he thinks that it's a hidden gem of a genre and that more people need to read romance books. You don't need to be ashamed or anything. And I just love that he was so, like, just such a bookworm and so passionate about, like, reading and so passionate about, like, the library. And it was just so, like, it was appealing. Anywho. Okay, so Parker, she works at a health store in upper management, and in order to prove to her boss that she is in the position she needs to be, she needs to get a client. Well, the thing is, the client is an old classmate of hers, and they didn't really leave on the best of terms. So in order to find the classmate, she's going to go to a school reunion. And I don't know about you, but who wants to go to a high school reunion and be single, not really have a concrete job? Anywho, what better way to go to a reunion than to hire a date? So she decides, I'm going to hire a date. Doesn't go that well. Someone outbids her, of course. But the guy she bid on was Knox. And she walks up to him and she goes, "This is my situation. I'm laying it all out." And he goes, "That's intriguing. I'll be your date." Sure. And that starts the book off. And it's twists and turns, but in the best type of way. I really enjoyed this book. It was my first Pippa Grant book, and it's not going to be my last because I really enjoyed it. Okay, my third book this month is The Glass Hotel, and it was a book club book pick. And we start off, this hotel is on the outskirts of like a Vancouver woodsy retreat, can only get to by boat. The bartender there is Vincent. She is in her 20s, kind of has been job hopping. It jumps from her point of view to her brother Paul's point of view, and they're half siblings and have an interesting dynamic as well as just the story picks up. The story all kind of starts one night in this hotel, and there's vandalism. So during this event at the hotel that night, there were some key players that were in the lobby that we kind of hear a little bit of their backstories. But the big connection is that you follow Vincent along through her journey and the twists and turns about making one of the connections with Jonathan that was at the hotel, and she gets tied up with him. And it is so intricate of a story, because I think what I took from the story was the like metaphor or the saying, like, don't judge, somebody. There's a glass perception type of situation. Like, don't throw stones in a glass house because you don't know what is solid, what is not solid. You really don't know the complexities of these relationships and the stories and how that works. And I think that is just the basis of the story. It was a really good book. It was written very interesting, and it time hopped, and it also point of view hopped, but not to the point where it was confusing. It really flowed really well. And the story was interesting to follow. The characters were interesting to follow. So my fourth book of the month was Falling by T.J. Newman. And I also read Drowning by T.J. Newman. But let's get into Falling first. So Falling starts off with Ben. And Ben is the pilot. And right before takeoff, he gets a message. And it says, your family has been kidnapped. We need you to choose either your family or to crash the plane. But here's the kicker. You can't tell anyone. You just have to follow our instructions of what we need you to do in the order we want them to do it in. You can't let anyone on your staff know. And also, there is someone working for us here, eyes on in the plane, and you don't know who it is. So good luck. Enjoy your flight. Let me tell you, there were moments in this book that I was like, I need to remember I'm reading a book and I'm not in a plane. I'm not in this setting. Details in this book are mind-blowing. And just the tension and the build-up and not knowing what was going on and not knowing like answers alongside of the main character. It was so fascinating. It was thrilling, and it was suspenseful, and it was just like, because you put yourself in the situation and you're just like, what are you going to do? And you have so many loyalties spread out everywhere. And it's just, oh my gosh, I think I've read this one in like 2 sittings, and it was fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, so my 5th book this month is Friends Don't, and I buddy read this with Amy over at Amy's Bookish Life and her sister Denise. It was the cutest, sweetest book, and not so steamy, so don't worry. In Friends Don't, you meet Poppy, and Poppy has moved to a new town. To me, it reminds me of Stars Hollow. It gives me Stars Hollow, Gilmore vibes. It's a small town. Everyone knows everybody. Everyone's been there for a long amount of time in everyone's business, knows the story, knows history, yada, yada, yada. She wanted a fresh start, and it just so happens that her boyfriend, this is his hometown, and a job opportunity she just couldn't pass up. So the stars aligned for her, and she moved with her sister Her boyfriend is a professional golfer and is on tour. While he is on tour, he asked his brother, who is Poppy's neighbor, to kind of show her around town, befriend her, because she doesn't know anyone in town, and just kind of like look after her and whatnot, just to make sure she's comfortable. I love this book. It was so sweet. It was such a page turner, and it gave me just literally the smiles the whole entire time I was reading it. And I haven't read anything from her, and I know this is a book series, and I know that the second book just came out too, and I'm telling you, I've already got it downloaded on my Kindle. I can't say enough about this book. I keep saying sweet because it is sweet and pure, and like it is a romance book, but it's very closed door romance, and it's just kind of the little palate refresher that I needed for the month after reading some intense novels. Okay, so my final book is Drowning by T.J. Newman. It is the second airplane book I read this month because why not, right? I mean, I really liked the first one, and I'm a glutton for punishment, I guess. So in this book, we have Kit. She's the pilot, and what happens is just a plane malfunction during takeoff. Or the plane took off in the air. Something is happening. The plane needs to do a waterland. And as the plane does a waterland, some plane parts come off and all the things, and some commotion. I'm not going to give too much of it. And as they are evacuating the people on the plane starts kind of filling up with water. A couple more things happen, and the pilot has to make the decision either to shut the door and save who out and make that decision to shut the door and maybe save them, or to continue to let the airplane fill. So she decides to make the decision. Let's shut the plane. Let's shut off the water. Let's kind of figure out what we're going to do. And I think that was such a smart decision. For the simple fact is you don't know the conditions on the outside, and you need to keep as many survivors as possible. This book, can I tell you, was also a page turner because it's been a great month. And the plane has water, is filling up, and your girl does not like to drown. Your girl does not, I mean, who likes to drown? But your girl does not like water, does not like the ocean. And I'm over here like, there's people in the ocean. There's parts and like airplane parts and just commotion and rescue teams and, all the things, because of course it's not going to be easy for them to just get out of the plane because the plane starts to sink. Sorry, spoiler, the plane starts to sink. And they're in the plane. And there's like 6 or 7 people in the plane. And I'm panicking as I'm telling you this. Sorry. But it was a good book. It has me on the edge of my seat in my feels. And I listened to it on audiobook. So there was that. And it was very intriguing. And I listened to it in a day and a half because I had to pause it often. Again, I think T.J. Newman, I've read 2 books so far this month, and they've both been fantastic. I think overall this month has been super fantastic, and I don't have much complaints. I've been enjoying what I've been reading this year. I've been really liking talking about books, so thank you for being here. Super grateful. And I think that's about it for now. So I hope that you guys are getting some good book recommendations, or at least looking them up or finding something to read, because there is nothing better than a good book. And until next time, I'll talk to you soon.